Or which I'm not sure which I've plugged into the system. Okay. All right, go.
Okay, go now. It's interesting that folks have the line of a bouzouki. I think probably if it wasn't for this man here, that such a thing would probably never happened and been seen. And great innovator, always with a unerring sense of where tradition lies. Please welcome Andy Irwin.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dave. Well, it's very nice to be back here again, although you would hardly recognize the place. Okay, well, I'm going to start off with a song which I used to do all those years ago in Planxty. And when the band finished for the first time, I tried to play it on my own, and it didn't really work without the lads behind me. So I kind of changed the arrangement a bit, and this is how it goes now. First cousin called Arthur McBride. He and I took a stroll down by the seaside, seeking good fortune and what might betide. 'Twas just as the day was a-dawning. Then after resting we both took a tramp. We met Sergeant Harper and Corporal Cramp, besides the wee drummer who beat up for camp with his rowdy dow-dow in the morning. He says, my young fellows, if you will enlist, a guinea you quickly will get in your fist, besides a crown for to kick up the dust and drink the king's health in the morning. For a soldier he leads a very fine life. He always is blessed with a charming young wife, and he pays all his debts without sorrow or strife, and always lives happy and charming. Soldier he always is decent and clean, in the finest of clothing he's constantly seen, while other poor fellows go dirty and mean, and sup on thin gruel in the morning. Says Arthur, I wouldn't be proud of your clothes, you've only the lend of them, as I suppose, and you dare not change them one night, you know, if you do you'll be flogged in the morning. And now, me old sergeant, we are not for sale. We'll make no such bargain, and your bribe won't avail. We're not tired of our country, we don't care to sail, although that your offer is charming. And if we were such fools as to take the advance, it's right Bloody Slender would be our poor chance. The Queen wouldn't scruple to send us to France, where we would be shot without warning. Sergeant, if I hear but one word, I instantly now will out with my sword, and into your bodies a strength will afford. So now, my gay devils, take warning. But Arthur and I, we took the odds. We gave them no chance for to launch out their swords. Our whacking shillelaghs came over their heads, paid them right smart in the morning. As for the wee drummer, we rifled his pouch and we made a football of his rowdy dow-dow. Into the ocean to rock and to row, and battered a tedious returning. As for the old rapier that hung by his side, we flung it as far as we could in the tide. To the devil I pitch you, says Arthur McBride, to temper your steel in the morning. Thank you. Well, this one is a murder ballad, which I'd like to get out of the way quite early in the first half. And I learned it from my good colleague who actually is responsible for bringing the bouzouki to Ireland, Johnny Moynihan. And Johnny sang this in Sweeney's Men, and it was called Johnson. And it was a correct name for it, really, because that was the name of the hero of the song. But some years later, I found another version of it. I found some new words, anyway, and I put it to a different tune, and I changed the title. And Johnny has not yet noticed that I stole this song. But it's even though it's called Three Huntsmen, the two of the huntsmen disappear after the first verse. They merely walk on parts. And so it's now called, it's called Three Huntsmen. It's of three huntsmen, brave and bold, as I have heard them say. They took 500 guineas, all on one market day. And as they rode home together o'er the Wicklow mountains high, it's "Hold your horse," cries Johnson, "for I hear a woman cry." "I will not stop," says Wilson, "I will not stop," says he, "and nor will I stop," says Gilmore, "for robbed I'm afraid we'll be." But Johnson, getting off his horse and searching the woods all round, till he found a naked woman with her hair pinned to the ground. "Oh woman dear, oh woman dear, how came you here for to span? Who that brought you here on this May morning with your hair pinned to the ground?" "It was three bold and struggling men with swords keen in hand, who that brought me here this May morning, my hair pinned to the ground. But my father, he's a wealthy man, and your kindness he'll repay, and I place my life all in your hand. Protect me, sir, I pray." Well, Johnson, being a man of his own, being valiant, brave and bold, he took off the coat from off his back to keep her from the cold. and Johnson getting on his horse, the woman got on behind. They rode down that lonesome valley, their fortunes for to find. And as they rode on along the way, as fast as they could ride, she threw her fingers to her lips and she gave 3 shivering cries. Out jumped 3 bold and struggling men with swords keen in hand, who commanded him to tarry, commanded him to stand. Well, I will stand, says Johnson, I'll stand then, says he, for I never was in all me life afraid of any 3. And Johnson killing 2 of them, not minding the woman behind. As he was at the other one, she stabbed him from behind. The day was free and a market day, the people all passing by could have seen this awful murder, could have seen poor Johnson die. Thank you very much. Well, this is a song from County Antrim, and my mother came from County Antrim, but I should, many years ago, I should have created the myth that I learned these songs from my mother, but I overlooked that, and it wouldn't have been true in any case, because she was a musical comedy actress, and she didn't really know a folk song from a hole in the ground, but she never heard me, she died when I was quite young, she never heard me sing these songs. So I often feel her presence when I'm singing them. And sometimes I'm a little bit nervous and she appears to me in a kind of think bubble, you know, and she looks on me with great worry and says, Andrew, don't forget the words. Which is very helpful, Mother. Thank you. But this is a song called "You Rambling Boys of Pleasure." I learned it from Len Graham and Joe Holmes, 2 of the very best singers I ever heard. You rambling boys of pleasure, give ear unto these lines I write. I own I am a rover, in rambling I take great delight. I cast my mind on a handsome girl, and oftentimes she does me slight. My mind is never easy, except when my true love is in my sight. Down by yon flowery garden, where me and my true love do meet, I took her in my arms, and unto her gave kisses sweet. She bade me take love easy, just as the leaves fall from the tree. But I, being young and foolish, with my own true love, I did not agree. And the second time I met my love, I thought that her heart was surely mine. But as the season changes, my darling girl has changed her mind. Gold is the root of evil, although it bears a glistening hue. Causes many's the lad and the lass to part, though their hearts like mine be e'er so true. And I wish I was in Belfast town, and my true love along with me, and money in my pocket to keep us in good company. Liquor to be plenty, a flowing glass on every side. Hard fortune would ne'er daunt me, for I am young and the world is wide. Thanks a lot. Well, it's a long time ago, but I'm not sure if it was here or in Glasgow that I met a young man after the concert, and he was telling me, I don't know how the conversation came up, but he was telling me about his father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather and all the forebears going back a long way had all been coal miners, and he said the reason for that was because coal miners never got paid enough money, and what consequently would happen would be that their children, mainly of course their sons, would be taken out of school, and when they were about 12 or 13, and given some task in the mine, like picking out rocks from the coal in the breaker's yard, and that would be the end of their education, and they would graduate from there to being fully blown coal miners themselves, and that's how it went from generation to generation. And he said his father had really worked manically in order to make enough money to keep him in school, and later to send him to college. And it sounded, well, it made a big impression on me, and I wrote this song. There's a frequency there which is kind of a little annoying. Can you get rid of it? Oh, it's just the room, is it all right? His dad was a miner and his granddad was too. There was never much question about what he might do. By the age of 13 he had laid down his pen and become a coal miner and a prince among men. My goal as a young lad from a bright early age was to follow my hero down in that cage. Fairy lights and pit ponies were the stuff of my dreams, never thinking how hard my dad worked at the scene. Only a miner killed under the ground, only a miner and one more is found. Killed by accident, no one can tell. Your mining's all over, poor miner, farewell. Dad worked like a Trojan, his money to save. I'm afraid that he worked himself into his grave, and my schooling was paid for at the cost of his lungs. Dad was an old man at the age of 41. I never will forget how his face lit with pride. When I got my diploma, he was there by my side, and I try to remember him as he was then, a rare moment of joy for a prince among men. Only a miner killed under the ground, only a miner and one more is found. Killed by accident, no one can tell. Your mining's all over, poor miner, farewell. An old watch and chain inscribed James Doyle never seen much reward for a life of such toil, but I keep his lamp burning and his old Union card, and his bones rest here in this sunlit graveyard. My dad was a miner and a prince among men, well loved by his wife and his family and friends, and his hardship and toil gave me the one chance I had, and generations of slavery died with my dad. Only a miner killed under the ground, only a miner and one more is found. Killed by accident, no one can tell. Your mining's all over, poor miner, farewell. Only a miner killed under the ground, only a miner and one more is found. Killed by accident, no one can tell. Your mining's all over, poor miner, farewell. Thanks a lot. Well, this next one is a song I wrote, I want to say quite recently, but it's probably about 2 years ago now. Well, that is quite recent at the speed that time is going when you get to my age. But this is a song about the great magician, escapologist, and showman Harry Houdini, who was died around 1927, and he's still remembered. I mean, if you do a kind of a poll, which I have done of audiences, and say who was the greatest magician and escapologist of the 20th century, nearly everybody says Houdini. Some Egypts will say Tommy Cooper and things like that, but this is a song I wrote about. There's a story about him that he was at a convention of magicians in Chicago, and he was called to the telephone, and the telephone box at that place was just a booth with two doors and two handles. And his fellow magicians followed him out, and they thought it'd be great crack to put a broom handle between the two handles. And he was locked in there for about an hour and a half. He couldn't get out, like, you know, he was screeching but it was all hushed up, and the papers never heard about it. So anyway, this is a song I wrote about him. Harry. It's very difficult to start sometimes. Okay. Harry Houdini, the handcuffed king, he could escape from nearly anything. His fame and renown forever at the summit, for if it could be done, Houdini done it. Harry Houdini, Hungarian born, taking the whole wide world by storm, getting out of straitjackets and walking through walls. Houdini could do it if it could be done at all. He took 27 needles and he swallowed them clean. We examined his mouth, not a needle to be seen. Then he swallowed cotton thread, what a magical blend. The needles came out threaded when he pulled on the end. Locked and chained in a casket underwater, holding his breath much longer than he oughta, accepting every challenge and he never would shun it. For if it could be done, Houdini done it. Jumping over a bridge with a big ball and chain, manacled and shackled, sure the man's insane. 10 minutes passed and we thought he must have died. When he came to the surface, it's magic, we cried. 40,000 people witnessed the affair. We cheered, shook hands and threw our hats in the air. And everybody wondered just how he'd overcome it. But if it could be done, Houdini done it. Locked and chained on a big wheel rotating, the buzz of the crowd excitedly waiting. The world's admiration, Harry Houdini won it. For if it could be done, Houdini done it. At Scotland Yard they locked him in a cell, handcuffed and leg ironed, thumb screwed as well. They said they'd be back in an hour or more, but he was free before they'd even reached the door. Oh, Harry Houdini, the handcuffed king, he could escape from nearly anything. The detectives, one and all, they were standing around saying, God help us all if he's ever sent down. Locked and chained and buried alive, the audience afraid that he wouldn't survive. Whatever the risk, Houdini would run it. For if it could be done, Houdini done it. In New York City he was all the rage. He brought Jenny the elephant onto the stage, and he says, now Jenny, say goodbye to the crowd. She tossed her head and she trumpeted and bowed, but the audience said, for heaven's sake, a disappearing elephant, give us a break. In the twinkling of an eye their doubts he'd banished, for into thin air the elephant vanished. Locked and chained in a casket underwater, holding his breath much longer than he oughta, accepting every challenge and he never would shun it. For if it could be done, Houdini done it. Before he died, he said to his wife, I've been escaping from jail, escaping from chains the whole of my life. But now the greatest challenge that's facing me is escaping from the chains of eternity. So his loving wife and friends most dear tried to make contact every year. But Harry Houdini on that distant shore, obeying the concept of natural law, never appeared, no, never no more. Locked and chained, Houdini the brave, seemingly unable to escape from the grave. His fame and renown forever at the summit, for if it could be done, Houdini done it. Harry Houdini, the handcuffed king. He could escape from nearly anything. His fame and renown forever at the summit. For if it could be done, Houdini done it. If it could be done, Houdini done it. If it could be done, Houdini done it. Well, this is a song was written by George Papavgaris. Do you know George Papavgaris? He can hardly hide his origins behind that name, can he? Greek. And but for a man whose native language is not English, he writes wonderful songs. I've heard nothing of him for the last couple of years. I hope that doesn't mean that he's ill or anything. But this is a song that he wrote called Empty-Handed. And I'm not sure that I ever asked him what it was about, but it appears to be about somebody who took their family to a very hot place like Australia maybe, and I think probably Australia because he's got relatives there. And being farmers, they bought a farm, but they bought it unfortunately in a place where it never rained. And so he was coming back from the bank, having failed to get an extension of his loan, to tell his family that they were ruined. And so it's not really a happy song, but again the rains are late this year, again the fields are dry and crops are dead. Today the bank refused to give me an extension on my loan. No money in my pocket for the fare, no friendly face with me my disappointment to share. In failure and in poverty we always feel alone. It's not the setting sun that makes my face look red. You rich will never understand it. And if I walk as if my shoes are made of lead, it's the shame of coming back home empty-handed. My arms and back are strong, and I have worked all the hours that the good Lord sent. But for all my efforts I have had so very little in return. The soil is too unyielding for the plough, too hard to soften with the sweat that trickles from my brow. The crop's so weak that there is almost nothing left to burn. It's not the setting sun that makes my face look red. You rich will never understand it. And if I walk as if my shoes are made of lead, it's the shame of coming back home empty-handed. My savings went to buy this land, but all it's good for is to bury me. Unless I find a way to make it pay, that could be very soon. The future that I dreamed as a young man is withered like the crop beneath this unrelenting sun. The very one that makes this such a lovely afternoon. It's not the setting sun that makes my face look red. You rich will never understand it. And if I walk as if my shoes are made of lead, it's the shame of coming back home empty-handed. What would happen if I just kept right on walking till I disappeared? Would they miss me if I had a mind the country side to roam? They followed me in hopes of paradise. The one thing I can't do right now is look them in the eye. I wish this road would swallow me and never take me home. It's not the setting sun that makes my face look red. You rich will never understand it. And if I walk as if my shoes are made of lead, it's the shame of coming back home empty-handed. It's not the setting sun that makes my face look red. You rich will never understand it. And if I walk as if my shoes are made of lead, it's the shame of coming back home empty-handed. Well, I probably told you this story before. It's the introduction usually goes with this song, and it's some years ago, in fact many years ago, everything is many years ago, but a long time ago, I was in Australia, and I woke up one morning. I was sleeping in a hotel quite close to the ocean, and I had a dreadful hangover. I can't remember what ghastly thing happened the night before, but I got up and I went down on the beach, and I thought, well, I'll have a swim, and that will kind of assuage the bad elements of this hangover. But, you know, in Australia, you have to swim between the two flags. They put flags there, the lifeguards, because they've discerned that that is a safe place to swim, and they will be watching out for you. And that morning, the flags seemed to be really close together, and all the people were jumping around and shouting and really happy and making a nuisance of themselves. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be part of that. So I went up the coast, and I went into the water on my own, and I got caught in a rip. And I knew the word, but I didn't know what it was. And it's very easy. Like if you ever get caught in a rip, you just swim sideways, and because the rip is usually quite narrow, and it's like shelving like that. And in this bit where the rip is, the water is coming outwards all the time. So I didn't know that. So I swam doggedly along the rip, and I made no progress whatsoever. And I began to think, well, this is the end. I'm actually going to drown. And I was convinced of it when suddenly my life flashed before my eyes, and it was actually very entertaining. And I couldn't believe all these things that I'd forgotten. But the next thing was, it was interrupted by a voice saying, "Over here, mate." And I thought, it's God. And he's Australian. But it was two lifeguards who were standing with the water up to their knees, about 15 yards away from me, And I looked across and I thought, Christ, they must be really tall, those people. But, they were standing on that bit, and I was kind of unable to stand in the middle of it. So they brought me to the shore, and there had been nobody there when I went into the water about half an hour before. And now the place is absolutely chock-a-block. It's amazing how impending disaster is the way to pull a crowd. If you ever have problems getting a crowd in this folk club, you should just kind of go out and shout fire, and the people will be in a flash. Anyway, I was saved, and I began to think about my life, and I wrote this song about youthful endeavors. My heart tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet mill town Malbay, and it's there I'd love to be. So long ago and far away, nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. In the town of Scariff, the sun was shining in the sky when Willie Clancy played his pipes and the tears ran down my eye. Many years have passed and gone since the times we had there, and my heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. My heart tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet mill town Malbay, and it's there I'd love to be. So long ago and far away, nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. That August in Kilrush, when the rain was lashing down, and our hotel was that hay barn on the outskirts of town. We were all sick and feverish, and Dolan had the flu, but Johnny produced some whiskey and the sun came smiling through. My heart tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet mill town Malbay, and it's there I'd love to be. So long ago and far away, nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. Those nights in 6 Mile Bridge when the songs and music flowed, and when it came to closing time, sure the lights would turn down low. And the sergeant from Kilkishen, he would buy us all one more, and we never left that pub before the clock was striking 4. Lahinch and Ennistimon, Liscannor and Kilkee, but best of all was Milltown when the music flowed so free. Willie Clancy in the County Clare, I'm ever in your debt for the sights and sounds of yesterday, a shining memories yet. My heart tonight is far away across the rolling sea, in the sweet mill town Malbay, and it's there I'd love to be. So long ago and far away, nothing can compare. My heart's tonight in Ireland, in the sweet County Clare. In the days of Sweeney, in the sweet County Clare. Well, I guess I should have invited you to sing along on something. I kind of forget that because... but here's one. This will be my last song of the set. This is a song written by Sai Khan. who comes from Charlotte, North Carolina, a great man. He was a union organizer until he retired, and he now writes books. But he wrote a lot of songs. The most famous one he wrote was Aragon Mill, which is a good song which needs reviving, and I might revive it. But this one is the same thing. It's about cotton mill worker who's worked all his life, and suddenly the cotton mill's closed down, and he's just left with no job and no money and nothing. And the chorus, if you don't know it, you'll pick it up in a flash. When I was just a little boy up in Pickens County, my father took me from the farm to be a Milltown baby. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. And not a hand in all this town could beat me once for doffing. Now it's more than I can do to sit here without coughing. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. Old man staring at his glass in some backstreet bar room. These were once the fastest hands in spinning spool or card room. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. When I was just a little boy up in Pickens County, my father took me from the farm to be a Milltown baby. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever, cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave ya. Good.
Irvin.
Please welcome back Andy Irvin.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. This is a song which is situated in County Tyrone. I don't think it comes from there, because this song is usually associated with the Appalachian Mountains or Sussex, which is odd. I have no idea how that could have happened, but. One evening as I rambled down by Pomeroy, I met a pretty fair maid upon the mountainside. Says I, my pretty fair maid, your beauty shines clear. On this lonely mountain I'm glad to see you here. Kind sir, she says, be civil and my company forsake, for it is my opinion that you are a rake. And if my father finds out, his anger I would fear, for keeping of your company all on these mountains here. No, I am no rake, but brought up in high degree, but I live a life of solitude here among the trees, and your beauty has ensnared me, I cannot pass you by. Do not be afraid of me all on these mountains high. This pretty little fair maid, she fell into a maze, as with eyes as bright as amber upon her I did gaze, and her ruby lips and rosy cheeks, they lost their former dye. She fell into my arms all on the mountainside. I had not kissed her once or twice till she came to again, and modestly she asked me, pray sir, what is your name? If you go in yon forest, my castle you may find. My name as old as history is Renadyne. And now, my pretty fair maid, don't let your father know, for if you do, 'twill ruin you and prove your overthrow. And if that you should seek for me, perhaps you'll not me find. I'll be in my castle, inquire for Renadyne. Her hair was black, her eyes were blue, her lips like ruby wine, and I smiled to gaze upon her, sly bold Renadyne. Sun and dark she followed after me, my teeth did brightly shine, as I led her o'er the mountain, sly bold Renadyne. Well, this is a song with a full-blown chorus that happens the same every time. It's quite unusual for me. I tend to write choruses that are different each time, and baffling the audience is my... But this is a song I wrote about... Well, I wrote it for the Irish Miners History Organization, which had a meeting about 2 years ago, and I sang all me miner songs there. And this one is called Here's a Health to Every Miner Lad. I need to point out it's on my new album. And the chorus, I can manage the chorus. Fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. Fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. Fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. Okay? As I roved out one morning in the spring, I spied a pretty fair maid, these words I heard her sing. The miner lives a hard life, never knowing what's in store. May Providence protect him and keep hardship from his door. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. She sang about the union men who fought for better pay to escape the poverty that dogged them night and day. And then a verse she did disperse of men from Erin's Isle, how they had travelled round the world for many's a weary mile. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. She sang of some from Cushendun and some from Carricktown, and more who strayed from Bantry Bay, that place of great renown. She said they were the finest that ever ye could behold, for they could turn the hardest rock to silver or fine gold. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. She told how many years ago they worked out in West Cork, and when the copper seam ran out they sailed for old New York. And out in Pennsylvania they dug the anthracite, and they joined the Molly Maguires for to fight for what was right. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. And next in Butte, Montana, they wore the wooden shoe, for they joined that mighty union called the IWW. But standing up for miners' rights, it cost them all their jobs, and they couldn't save Frank Little from that vigilante mob. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. She sang a stave about the brave coal miners from South Wales, how they were paid short measure on the crooked weighing scales. She told about Nye Bevan in 1945. He set up the National Coal Board and stood by the miners' side. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. And finally the miners' strike of 1984, and tears ran down her hollow cheeks and she could sing no more. That ruthless iron lady in her song she featured not. May her name be never mentioned, but her deeds be ne'er forgot. So fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. Fill your glasses up, let the toast go merrily round. Here's a health to every miner lad that works down underground. Thank you very much. Well, this is a song from Australia. I learned from a really good friend of mine called Kate Burke, who dug it out of the Australian National Library, and it's a song about a shipwreck. The ship was called the Dandenong and went down with a whole bunch of people. Sorry. Wild and furious blew the blast, and the sky with anger frowned. When the Dandenong from Melbourne sailed, to Newcastle port was bound. She had 83 poor souls on board, through the storm she cleaved her way. And it's sad to relate the terrible fate, 'twas just off Jarvis Bay. And I long for you, I long for sleep, I dream of being warm. Across the sea I have to sail to brave this raging storm. While ploughing through those angry waves, her propelling shaft gave way, and the waters they came pouring in, which filled them with dismay. All hands on board did all they could, till at length all hope was gone, and they hoisted a signal of distress on board of the Dandenong. It was not long until a bark with a brisk and a lively crew came bearing down, and the captain cried, "We'll see what we can do." Came bearing down with might and main, in spite of wind and rain. They did all they could, as sailors would, those precious lives to save. And I long for you, I long for sleep, I dream of being warm. I pray the sea will let me be, to face another dawn. Well, some in boats they tried to reach that kind and friendly bark, and numbers of their lives were saved, but the night came on pitch dark. What more could mortal man do then, when the storm increased full strong, and the rest now sleep in the briny deep, along with the Dandenong. And I long for you, I long for sleep, I dream of coming home. Tonight the sea, it buries me beneath this raging foam. Well, I was an actor. I was a child actor, a brilliant child actor. But well, do you ever see a bad child actor? But things changed when I was about 15, and I entered the juvenile stage, as they used to call it, a juvenile actor, and I didn't really. I wasn't as good as I had been before, and you could say that about 90% of child actors. They don't make it into the adult world. But when I was old enough to take a drink, I went into the pub in Dublin where actors went and still go. It's called Neary's, and back in the early 60s when I was there, they were, I don't know, I didn't like them. They kind of talk about you behind your back, and they were all kind of actorish and kind of, darling, how lovely to see you. And so one day somebody came in and said, what are you doing drinking in this awful place? Like, come down the road to O'Donoghue's, where the musicians and the singers meet. And I went there that afternoon, and I was immediately accepted, and I stayed there about 6 years without moving. But this is a song I wrote called O'Donoghue's. 15 Marion Road, Dublin 2, telephone 6287. But if you go to Dublin looking for O'Donoghue's, don't be beguiled by the second one they've opened, which is in Suffolk Street, and it's not the right one at all. Okay. It was August 1962, when I first set foot in O'Donoghue's, a world of music, friends and booze opened up before me. I never could have guessed as I walked through the door just what the future had in store. A crossroads for my life I saw, lying there to taunt me. Well, I was an actor, I played straight, I played in the Gaiety, played at the gate. My mother in 1928 had trod those boards before me. I was getting tired of the company, an actor's life did not suit me. I said goodbye, you'll never see me back here in Neary's. Johnny Moynihan in his fusty coat was the first to play there in Marion Row. He brought the bouzouki to Ireland, you know. Way storm along John, Paddy and Maureen O'Donoghue, Kieran Burke, Luke Kelly, Ronnie Drew, Barney McKenna and me and you in the early 1960s. Well, Paddy and Maureen, very, very sound, but she liked to camp on the moral high ground. You had long hair, you were outward bound, go down you blood red roses. Ronnie Drew and his fine suit of blue, and a voice like gravel that would cut you in two. We thought he was Dublin through and through, but he blew in from Dundleary. Joe Ryan and John Kelly in the front bar. Their fiddles are from the County Clare. Joe Heaney sings in the cold night air in the laneway after closing. Our sea shanties in perfect tune, and Seamus Ennis in the afternoon. It was all over much too soon. Days of wine and roses. Well, Banjo Barney calling the tune. Mary Jordan's a whiz on the spoons. Up the Swanee and down the Broom. Barney's rising to it. They carry him bodily out to the jacks. He empties his bladder and they carry him back. He swallows his pint and he's right back on track. How the fuck does he do it? Any afternoon you might find there Luke Kelly and his banjo and his red hair. Oh, what times, what an atmosphere. What more could a young man wish for? How I'd spend my time was never in doubt. This is what life was all about. A bowl of soup and a pint of stout. August fog mead shoot Marathoche. Dave Smith never short of a witty phrase. Sonny Brogan loved the way he plays. Ted McKenna, God bless the days of Italian mandolinos. At closing time we didn't go far, just down the road to the Pike Coffee Bar. The usual suspects, there you are. Have yous no homes to go to? Putting up a note on the message board. Sweeney's men have a gig, oh Lord. We have to meet at 12 o'clock for the journey down to Galway. But the Sweeney van broke down at the door, and we didn't get started till 4:15 to the merry tune of the Dolan snore. Haul away me Rosie. It all came to an end in 68. The rest of the world was lying in wait, and I started out for a new landscape. Set sail for the Pyrenean Mountains. From the old North Wall sailed away, and all me friends were there on the quay. Won't be back for many's a day, but it was bloody great while it lasted. It was August 1962 when I first set foot in O'Donoghue's. A world of music, friends and booze happening towards me. I never could have guessed as I walked through the door just what the future had in store. A blueprint for my life I saw lying there before me. Well, this song was recorded in 1952 by the BBC, or by Sean O'Boyle and Peter Kennedy for the BBC, and it was sung in County Fermanagh by a really great singer called Bridget Tunney, who was the mother of Paddy Tunney. But she sang this song called As I Roved Out, and Planxty later recorded it, and Paddy Tunney was not impressed. He said it was too slow. But then he was a cantankerous old bollocks anyway. as I roved out on a bright May morning to view the meadows and flowers gay. Whom should I spy but my own true lover, as she sat under yon willow tree? I took off my hat and I did salute her. I did salute her courageously. When she turned around, sure the tears fell from her, saying, "False young man, you have deluded me." A diamond ring I own I gave you, a diamond ring to wear on your right hand. But the vows you made, love, you went and broke them, and married the lassie that had the land. If I married the lassie that had the land, my love, it's that I'll rue until the day I die. When misfortune falls, sure no man can shun it. I was blindfolded, I'll ne'er deny. And at nights when I go to my bed of slumber, the thoughts of my true love run in my mind. When I turn around to embrace my darling, instead of gold, sure 'tis brass I find. And I wish the Queen would call home her army from the West Indies, America and Spain, and every man to his wedded woman, in hopes that you and I will meet again. Paddy Tunney might have thought that was a bit too slow anyway. But, okay. The wind was a torrent of darkness. Oops, no it wasn't. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees, and the moon was a ghostly galleon. That frequency is really annoying. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees, and the moon was a ghostly galleon, tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, and the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. He'd a French cocked hat on his forehead and a bunch of lace at his chin, a coat of the scarlet velvet and breeches of brown doe skin. They fitted with never a wrinkle, his boots were up to the thigh, and he rode with a jewel twinkle, his pistol butts a twinkle, his rapier a hilt a twinkle under the jeweled sky. Over the cobbles he clattered and clanged in the dark inn yard. He tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red lobknot into her long black hair. But deep in the dark old inn yard, a stable wicket creaked, where Tim the ostler listened, and his face was white and peaked. His eyes were hollows of madness, his hair like mouldy hay, but he loved the landlord's daughter, the landlord's red-lipped daughter, and dumb as a dog he listened, and he heard the robbers say, "One kiss, my bonny sweetheart, for I'm after a prize tonight, but I will return with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way." He stood in his stirrups, he scarce could reach her hand, but she loosened her hair in the casement, and his face burned like a brand, as the black cascades of perfume came tumbling over his breast, and he kissed its waves in the moonlight, oh sweet black waves in the moonlight. He tugged on his rein in the moonlight, and galloped away to the west. But he did not come in the dawning, and he did not come at noon, and out of the scarlet sunset, before the light of the moon, when the road was a gypsy's ribbon looped across the moor, the red coat troop came marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to the old inn door. They said no word to the landlord, they drank his ale instead, but they gagged his daughter and bound her to the foot of her narrow bed. And two of them knelt at her casement with their muskets by their side. There was death at every window and hell at one dark window, for Bess could see from her casement the road that he would ride. They had bound her up to attention with many's a sniggering jest. They had bound a musket beside her with the muzzle beneath her breast. Now keep good watch, and they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, "Oh, watch for me by moonlight, look for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way." Twisted her hands behind her, but all of the knots held good. She writhed her hands till her fingers were wet with sweat or blood. She stretched and strained in the darkness, the hours crawled by like years, till now on the stroke of midnight, cold on the stroke of midnight, the tip of one finger touched it, the trigger at least was hers. The tip of one finger touched it, she strove no more for the rest. She stood up straight to attention with the muzzle beneath her breast. She would not risk their hearing, she would not strive again, for the road lay bare in the moonlight, blank and bare in the moonlight, and the blood in her veins in the moonlight throbbed her love's refrain. Clot, 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 had they heard it, the horses' hoofs rang clear. Clot, 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 in the distance were they deaf that they did not hear. Then down the ribbon of highway and over the brow of the hill, the highwaymen came riding, riding, riding. The redcoats looked to their priming, she stood up straight and still. Clot, clot in the frosty silence, clot, clot in the echoing night. Nearer he came and nearer, her face was like a light. Her eyes grew wide for a moment, she drew one last deep breath. Then her finger moved in the moonlight, her musket shattered the moonlight, shattered her breast in the moonlight, and warned him with her death. He stopped and turned to the westward. He did not know who stood, with her head bowed over her musket, drenched in her own red blood. 'Twas dawn before he heard it, and he slowly blanched to hear how Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, had watched for her love in the moonlight and died in the darkness there. Oh, back he rode like a madman, shrieking a curse to the sky. The white road smoking behind him, his rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs, in the golden noon wine red his scarlet coat. When they shot him down on the highway, down like a dog on the highway, he lay in his blood on the highway, a bunch of lace at his throat. Still of a winter's night, they say, when the wind is in the trees, when the moon is a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, when the road is a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, a highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. A highwayman comes riding up to the old inn door. Over the cobbles he clatters and clangs in the dark inn yard. He taps with his whip on the shutters, but all is locked and barred. He whistles a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Well, we're down to the wire again. Thank you very much indeed for having me here, and it's lovely to see you all again. Old faces, new faces. Thanks to John for organising this, and everybody else. Thanks, Chris, for the sound. This is the one I've been finishing up with for the last 120 years, I think. but I've just got in the habit of doing it. I still like it, and it's my finisher. A blacksmith courted me 9 months and better. He fairly won my heart, wrote me a letter. With his hammer in his hand, he looked quite clever. And if I was with my love, I'd live forever. But where is my love gone, with his cheeks like roses, and his good black billycock gone, decked around with primroses? I'm afraid the scorching sun will shine and burn his beauty, and if I was with my love, I'd do my duty. Strange news is come to town, strange news is carried, strange news flies up and down, that my love is married. I wish them both much joy, though they can't hear me, and may God reward him well for the slighting of me. Don't you remember when you lay beside me, and you said you'd marry me and not deny me? If I said I'd marry you, it was only for to try you. So bring your witness, love, and I'll not deny you. Oh, witness have I none, save God Almighty, and may He reward you well for the slighting of me. Her cheeks grew pale and wan, it made her poor heart to tremble, to think she loved a one, and he proved deceitful.
Thanks very much, everybody. I can tell by that response that even though the hour is late, another quick one from Andy Irvine would be on the cards. Let's hear it again. Andy Irvine.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's been lovely to be here again. I had a request for this, and I'm not going to disappoint the person who requested it. So, provided you will sing the chorus after the third verse. This song I wrote for my hero Woody Guthrie, and it's called "Never Tire of the Road." And sometimes I wish I hadn't written it, because have to live up to that, you know. Never tire of the bleeding road. But the chorus that Woody wrote for a different song went, all of you fascists bound to lose, all of you fascists bound to lose, all of you fascists bound to lose, you're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. I wonder what he meant by that. I was just a small-time country boy when I left that dusty town. Route 66 to the westward, and I hopped an old freight down. California, here I come, by the side door Pullman and the sunburned bum. They called us Okies, low-down bums. The police on us frown. Never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheel, never tire of the ways of the world. Way out yonder's a calling me, and the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my code. The lonesome voice that I heard in my headset, never tire of the road. California to the New York Island, me and my guitar, and we played in many's a hobo jungle, many's a Skid Row bar. Standing out in the wind and the rain, that lonesome whistle is a sweet refrain when you're waiting for some old freight train that carries an empty car. Never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheel, never tire of the ways of the world. Way out yonder's a calling me, and the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my code. The lonesome voice that I heard in my headset, never tire of the road. Shipped on board of a Liberty ship to sail the ocean blue. We were carrying guns, TNT, D-Day soldiers too. All of the men on board agreed with Cisco, Jimmy Longy and me, and our song rang out across the sea. You fascists bound to lose. Oh yes, all of you fascists bound to lose. All of you fascists bound to lose. Yes, all of you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, all of you fascists bound to lose. All of you fascists bound to lose. All of you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Don't let them ever fool you or take you by surprise. The dirty smell of the politician and the man with the greed in his eyes. One big union, that's our plan, and the IWW's our only man. The flames of discontent we'll fan for the cause that never dies. Never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheel, never tire of the ways of the world. Way out yonder's a calling me, and the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my code. The lonesome voice that I heard in my head said, never tire of the road. All of you fascists bound to lose. All of you fascists bound to lose. Yes, all of you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all of you for coming. Thanks to University Folk Sock for opening up tonight. That was great. Thanks to Gilly Hewitt, and especially thanks for a fantastic set from Andy Irvine. Ryan Young and Jen Butterworth next week. Hope to see you there for that. Thank you. Good night.